J. Hi, friends and clients of JLW. Let's see if that intro is going to go again. I think it's going twice. I think that's it. All right. Hi. I am glad to see y'all. I am Jennifer Walker Gates, board certified immigration attorney with JLW Immigration Law Group. And I am here. We are here each week on Wednesdays at noon to share information with y'all about relevant topics in immigration law and answer your questions live. So today's topic, before we get into Q&A, I wanted to share with y'all today about immigration for families who are LGBTQ, part of the LGBTQ community. We here at JLW Immigration Law Group are super happy and honored to work with the LGBTQ immigrant community on getting legal status, reuniting your family, becoming U.S. citizens. And this type of case has really only been available for the last 10, 11 years. And so it isn't something that everyone knows. And so I want to make sure that it's shared with y'all so that you are able to let your loved ones know. If you are a member of the LGBTQ community, you know what your rights are and what to expect. And that, immigration is definitely possible for families who are members of the LGBTQ community. So prior to doing that, y'all please take a second and subscribe to our channels, subscribe to our YouTube, follow us on Facebook. If you have any questions at all about anything we're sharing, whether here or on our other YouTube videos, please don't hesitate to drop the question in a comment. I do respond to our YouTube comments about once a week. So I'm happy to answer questions there. It may not be an immediate answer, but I am happy to answer questions. Y también hablo español. So I speak Spanish. If you have questions and you want to ask those questions in Spanish, I'll be happy to respond to those. Okay, so LGBTQ families, prior to the year 2013, it was not possible for same-sex couples or members of the LGBTQ community to have certainty about family-based immigration. Then we had a decision out of the Supreme Court basically recognizing same-sex marriage as a valid legal marriage throughout the United States. And since that time, the federal government has recognized and allowed same-sex couples and LGBTQ families to go through the same immigration processes as traditional hetero cis couples. In 2020, when Joe Biden took office, he also began to respect the rights of individuals to identify with a different gender than what they were assigned at birth, and to update that information with USCIS through either legal documentation, which is what was required and mandatory before, or a simple statement of preference. So if you are in a relationship with someone who is of the same gender, of the same sex, or you are a person who wants to transition, wants to change gender, or you have already done so, the same immigration through family is available to you at this time, at least. We will see what happens after this election. But at this moment, members of our LGBTQ community have the same rights and availability of benefits as the hetero-cis couples and families. So that means that U.S. citizen spouses can petition for their spouses, no matter whether they are the same gender, different genders. If you are a U.S. citizen child who is 21 years old, you can petition for a parent, even if that parent has changed gender. You can also potentially petition for a step parent, even if that parent has changed gender. This doesn't always necessarily mean, as we know with regular immigration, that every family member, just because there's a petitioner that's available, can complete the process and arrive all the way at the end where they aim to go immigration-wise. But these family relationships are valid even if members of the family are transgender or in a same-sex relationship. So I do hope that the community broadly is aware that these benefits exist, that they're available, and that there are attorneys out here available to help and eager to help everyone get long-term stable status in the United States. That is our goal and our hope. I wanted to share with y'all as well that right now we are waiting on the hearing on November 5th in the district court in East Texas on the PIP program. It's important to note that there was a case recently that came out of the Supreme Court finding that basically Texas did not have standing to sue over DACA and some other programs for the Biden administration. I think actually this one was on the this was on one of the Biden administration's enforcement priorities. I don't know. There's so many lawsuits. I'm struggling to remember exactly which lawsuit this was, but it was an important, favorable decision for those of us who want PIP to survive and move forward. Basically, what it's saying is that Texas cannot prove injury in that case. That's what we've been anticipating will happen also with PIP. So everything kind of depends on the election. There could ostensibly be a period of time, if Donald Trump wins the election, there could ostensibly be a period of time between when the election occurs, when it's decided, and when he takes office, where applicants for PIP could be approved. But we anticipate that if he takes office, he would cancel that program. And it is going to behoove those people who have already filed applications at that time, if that does happen. We can't, again, that we predict it. It could also happen where if Texas loses at the district court, they could appeal up. The Fifth Circuit could reinstate a stay and put the program on hold again. And then if Donald Trump takes office and cancels it, that's the end. I hope that's not the tragic end. I hope Kamala Harris wins, defends the program, and ultimately it gets to take effect. That would be the ideal. That would help millions of families reunite in the United States without waivers, without having to leave, and be able to obtain work permits much, much sooner in the process so that they can contribute to our economy. Our economy is booming right now in the United States. It is the envy of the world because of immigration. That has been reported recently by economic experts. It's very clear that our population, our native-born population, is shrinking. And in order for our economy to continue to thrive and grow as it has, we need immigrants in the United States working, contributing, and helping run that engine. Therefore, here we are doing what we believe is best for the country, for our clients, for the world. We are stronger in the United States with the power of immigrants helping us, working with us. So y'all know this about me already. This is my opinion. This is where I get to share my opinion, whether people want to hear it or not. So thank you for listening. And I am going to turn to our questions. Adney, let's see what your question says. Oh, let's see. There it is. All right. I-130 petition, my estimate time of 2 months to 5 weeks, 4 weeks to 3 weeks to 2 weeks to 1 week. Next week, your case is longer than to process. You'll be notified if you need to take any action. Okay. Adney, I think that what your question is asking, if I'm not mistaken, is what you should do if and when a case is outside of normal processing times. If it is taking longer than expected to process, that is not unusual at all, and you shouldn't worry, in my opinion. Um, Cases often take longer than we expect when we file them because USCIS's caseload fluctuates a great deal. Sometimes they get a bunch of cases in at once that they weren't expecting. Sometimes a new program comes online and a bunch of staff that was dedicated to adjudicating one type of case gets moved to a different type of case. And then those that are left with the original cases all of a sudden have a much larger workload and they're going to take longer. So this is not unusual. It happens a lot. Um, on the USCIS website, which is uscis.gov, I'll post it in the comments. uscis.gov/processing times. I believe that's the right address. This website allows you to go in, check the processing times, and it will tell you the date. Like you put in, there's a little field where you can put in the filing date for your case, and it will tell you if you are allowed to already submit an inquiry about that particular petition. It'll base it on when you filed and how long the current processing times are. And if you are past the date when you can submit an inquiry, then you can go ahead and, if your case was filed online, online case filings allow you to submit an inquiry directly through your online filing portal, and that is what we would recommend. That's the best way to submit an inquiry. If you did not file online, if you filed the old-fashioned way, you can still submit an inquiry through the website, and that is one way to do it. You can also potentially call the customer service center. Now, if your case is merely a few days outside of regular processing times, calling wouldn't be our first recommended path, because when you call, you know that really the only way to talk to a person on that phone, on the phone option, is to say InfoPass, is to request an InfoPass appointment. Okay, when you call, you say InfoPass, and they will help route you to a person who will ask you about your case and figure out whether they can schedule you for an InfoPass appointment. Somebody who is just a little bit over processing times is not going to be really allowed to schedule an InfoPass appointment. If it's exceedingly over time, if it's a year or more outside of processing times, you may be able to schedule an InfoPass appointment in that circumstance. However, just having it a few days outside of processing times, most likely they're not going to do that for you. So my recommendation would be to submit an inquiry through uscis.gov or through your own online filing portal. That's online filing portal is the best way. Next best way is through uscis.gov. Third way, call the 1-800 customer service number and say InfoPass and talk to a human being that way. I hope that helps. If it's just a few days outside of processing times, not to worry. It should be updated in the next few weeks, hopefully. In immigration timeframes, we are so anxious for things to be resolved quickly, and for them, a month is really, really, really short. Like a month is a day, as far as they're concerned. And so it is just difficult for us to wait the amount of time that they take to do their job. But most often we don't have any choice and we're just kind of stuck at their mercy. So hopefully that helps, Sudney. Please follow up and let me know if you have any other questions. Let's see, who is next? JD. Hello, I am married to a U.S. citizen. I need to adjust my status through family petition with no criminal record. If I am a registered ABC class member, will that help in any way or form? Oof, JDM, that is a really good question. ABC class members, actually that stuff happened and came online before I even started practicing. That is from the late 90s, if I'm not mistaken, where people who had come into the United States from Central America and needed to apply for asylum were able to do that and receive some benefits through that program, such as work permits and potentially legal status and a pathway to residency. I do know that those individuals were able to also seek cancellation of removal in the immigration court. JD, what I can tell you about that program is that if you entered the United States without permission, you probably are not eligible to adjust status outside the immigration court. If you entered with permission, you can probably adjust status, but I don't think that ABC class membership waives an unlawful entry. However, if you are able to reopen the case in the immigration court, you may be able to apply for your resident status in the immigration court using that old class membership. I have had cases that have done that, and so it's one of those situations where it's a weird little benefit that only exists for people inside the immigration court, and I don't think that USCIS will be able to do much of anything with that to help you adjust status. Our partner, Jacqueline Watson, has done a whole bunch of NACARA cases. During her career, she has been practicing quite a bit longer than I have, several years. And so early in her career, a lot of her clients were going through the NACARA process. And I would recommend reaching out to Jacqueline. Her email, I will put it in this chat, and she would be happy to consult with you about your case and give you advice and insight about best next steps and the quickest way for you to get from where you are now to permanent resident status. So I hope that you're able to find a trustworthy attorney who can help you with that. I don't think it will help you with USCIS. However, you may have the ability to get into the immigration court and do something with it inside the immigration court. I would love to answer additional questions if anyone has them. Right now, what I'm telling everyone, what I'm hounding everyone about is making sure that our U.S. citizens, our U.S. citizen family members who are 18 and over are registered to vote and have a voting plan. Ideally, they have a voting plan with a friend, with another family member, maybe a first-time voter. It is the time of year where we all need to be participating in the electoral process. It is a really contentious election. It's a really anxious time for a lot of immigrants. If the election is decided in favor of Donald Trump, if Donald Trump ends up back in the White House, it will become a time of heavy enforcement in the United States against immigrants. We will be seeing a lot more people being deported. That is just, unfortunately, the way I expect it will go. There's really nothing at this moment that we can particularly do about that, except start really thinking that through. Take time as best as possible now when we're calm and centered outside the stormy times, right? Try to take it some time now to really think about what is the worst case scenario that can happen if we are faced with another really enforcement heavy administration. If I or a loved one is picked up, detained by immigration, and either removed or placed in immigration court proceedings, how am I going to handle that? What do I need to do to be ready for that, to be as prepared for that as possible? And that, for me, I don't know about y'all, but that can become overwhelming and scary really, really fast. So I just focus on what is the one thing I can do today, one thing, just one tiny little step I can take today. And then maybe tomorrow I take another one. And the next day, maybe I just take one more. And if we can start doing that now, before things get too crazy and too scary, we'll be in a better position if that does come to pass. I really hope that it doesn't. I really love my immigrant friends and family members and loved ones to feel comfortable and safe in the United States. However, we will just have to see what happens. Our politics right now are such that many of us don't get to enjoy that luxury all the time, unfortunately. So it is a good time to do some thinking about worst case scenario planning. It's an important strategic move to make while we are calm and centered and before things get really nuts. And hopefully they won't come to pass. Hopefully we all have good voting plans. We're taking loved ones to vote, and the election will favor immigrants and immigration reform. LGBTQ families, if y'all need immigration help, other heterosis families, if y'all need immigration help, we are here for you. Please contact us. Our website is jlw.law, jlw.law. On our website, you can click to schedule an appointment with me or either of my partners. Anytime, we would be honored and happy to analyze your case, talk to you about what you need to do and what's the best step for you. You can also call our number, 512-633-1785 is our principal number at our office. Our team will be happy to schedule you for a consult with me or with either of my lovely partners. And we can do some problem solving together and figure out what's going to work best for you and your family to keep you here together and safe for the long term. I thank you all for being here today. Thank you so much for your questions. Hopefully we'll see you again next Wednesday. JD, reach out to Jackie and she can help you. And I will look forward to seeing you all next week. And with that, I'm going to sign off. Have a great one, everybody.